Today, businessman Donald Trump has company at the top of the GOP. A new CBS News New York Times poll has the real estate mogul virtually tied with retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson. The pair are only 4 points apart, which is within the margin of error.
We're now joined by CBS News elections director Anthony Salvanto and Leah Wright Rigueur. She's an assistant professor of public policy at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. We thank you both for joining us. First to you, Anthony, what is it about Ben Carson's strategy that is really, well, that can really explain this meteoric rise?
Well, you know, what we're seeing nationally is Trump at the top, Carson close. And that mirrors a little bit that we saw in some of the states in particular, you know, those early primary states where everybody descends on starting this time of year. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. In Iowa, it looks like very much a two-man field as well. Same two candidates, Trump and Carson. And we asked them what it was that they were looking for in a candidate. And the number one answer was private sector experience, business experience, which says to me a little bit about, number one, that, you know, Donald Trump's message is sinking in, but also about where our politics are, which is that people are now looking outside the realm of government for that kind of experience and what they want in a candidate.
Leah, I want to turn to you. Ben Carson's rise is surprising a lot of folks. I know you have written extensively about black conservatism. What do you make of Ben Carson's appeal?
Well, you know, I don't think it's that surprising when we think about who he's trying to, who he's trying to appeal to. I think for conservative voters, he's incredibly likable. He's soft-spoken, he's smart, he has a history behind him, and he's saying the types of things that they're thinking and saying in their homes.
Could Carson help Republicans crack double digits with black voters?
Well, you know, I think that's tough. Getting to black voters is going to take more than just having a black candidate, right? It's also about, does he have the kind of policies that can appeal to black voters? And right now, he doesn't. Although there is a certain subset, I think, of African-American voters who do see some appeal in Ben Carson. And part of that is because they can identify with his conservatism.
And Anthony, what have the numbers shown with respect to Ben Carson and who it is within the conservative realm that he seems to be appealing to?
You know, he and Donald Trump have a similar story. It's really interesting. Their support cuts across all those usual boxes that, you know, pollsters always categorize the electorate. Okay, here's the conservatives, here's the moderates, here's the old and the young, etc. And Dr. Carson's support is pretty even and pretty strong across all of those groups. It includes, of course, evangelical voters, which I think is very important to any coalition that he might put together. Donald Trump is strong, however, among them, too. And what I think all of that tells you is that this is attitudinal. It goes outside those little categories, and it speaks to this larger sense of, can we look outside of government for somebody with experience that they might bring to this process, a process that people are very frustrated with, frankly.
We were talking a lot with Nancy Cordes about just all of the controversial comments that Donald Trump has made about many of the candidates, but in particular, he made some pretty strong comments that you know, about black people, about Mr. Carson. Leah, do you think that could alienate the black vote from the GOP?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, you know, I like to tell people that the Republican Party is always going to be judged by its worst element, right, when it comes to black voters. And so right now, you know, we hear Donald Trump saying all of these kind of antagonistic things and saying, you know, things like, I know the blacks, or, you know, saying detrimental things or pejorative things about black voters. And absolutely, you know, that alienates black electorate. It also, I think, widens the gulf that's already there. African Americans in the Republican Party already have a hostile relationship. So Donald Trump is, I think, making it a little worse.
Anthony, looking ahead to the debate, what is the strategy here for Donald Trump? You look at his numbers and where they've been. He's been in the lead, but now you've got Ben Carson right in your rearview mirror right there. How concerning might that be?
Well, what you're going to see is, I think, is that Donald Trump is winning on that message right now of business experience. It's not just private sector. For him, it's more particular. It's business experience. It's deal making. I think he'll hear him talk a lot about that. But I also think that when we look at these debates, it's fun to pit the candidates against one another. They're jockeying for attention. They're looking to get in the right zinger, you know. But actually what really moves the needle when we watch these things play out is how well any given candidate connects with what the electorate is looking for. It's not always the zinger. It's not always the canned one-liner. And so I think that when you look at where that electorate is, where that Republican electorate is, a lot of them are frustrated conservatives. A lot of them want something outside government. It's who connects with that really than just jockeying for attention back and forth at the end of the day.
Well, thank you, Elections Director Anthony Salvanto and Leah Wright Rigueur from Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. We thank you both for being here. 11 Republican candidates will take the stage tomorrow night for the next primary debate. CBSN, of course, will have full coverage ahead of the debate starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so tune in.